Welcome everybody, I'm Robbie Russell, and welcome to another episode of R2F2 Prognostication. This week I'll be covering my sleepers and busts for Week 2 of the NFL season. I hope Week 1 was a major success for all of you, and you all came away with W's. To start, I only have one quarterback sleeper this Sunday, and that's Christian Ponder. I liked Ponder last week, but he didn't score too high, throwing 0 touchdowns, but at least he didn't turn the ball over. He did complete 74% of his passes for 270 yards, and he did spread the ball around. 4 players caught at least 3 passes. This weekend he gets a soft Colts defense that had trouble stopping Jay Cutler last week. With Adrian Peterson back and running hard, I expect the running game to open up plenty of room down the field for Ponder to spread the ball around once again. But this time I expect 2 scores from Christian Ponder on Sunday. Just like my quarterback sleepers, I only have one quarterback bust this week, and that's Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers failed to perform on national television on Monday Night Football this past Monday. He did score one time to Malcolm Floyd, but against a soft Raiders defense, I expected a little more. This week he gets a Titans defense that faced Tom Brady last week. Now, although Tom Brady did throw for 2 touchdowns against the Titans, they did hold Tom Brady to 236 yards through the air. The Titans will be expecting Philip Rivers to throw the ball as the Chargers still try to get their running game going, with Ryan Matthews probably returning this weekend. But how effective will he be coming off an injury? The Titans will back off and will try and take away the passing and make the Chargers run the ball. On to my running back sleepers. I'm surprised at myself that I have a Mike Shanahan running back on my sleeper list this week. But I do like Alfred Morris. Morris had a great game in his rookie debut, scoring 2 touchdowns and running for 96 yards on 28 carries against a decent Saints defense. This weekend, the Redskins get the Rams, who they played the Lions last week and got torched for 2 rushing scores and a whole bunch of fantasy points. I look for Alfred Morris to get the start here and run with passion and speed just like he did last week. And I expect the same type of performance, maybe 2 scores, maybe 1 score, or over 100 yards, or something around, those stats. I mean, the Rams defense looked like they improved a little bit from last year, having the worst rush defense, but not much. So I look for Alfred Morris to take advantage of that. My other sleeper running back this week has been Jarvis Green-Ellis. Now, although the Bengals got torched on Monday Night Football by the Ravens, Jarvis Green-Ellis did have 91 yards on only 18 carries and 1 touchdown. This weekend is the Bengals' home opener, and they draw the Browns. Now, the Browns faced the Eagles last week, and McCoy got 110 yards on them. I look for the law firm to run hard and get down to the goal line and get a few touchdowns from inside, the 20, the 10 or so. So if you have been Jarvis Green-Ellis, I'd look to start him this weekend. My only running back bust that everybody's high on from last week that I'm not too high on is C.J. Spiller. Now, granted, Spiller had a career game last weekend against a good Jets defense, and he burst onto the scene and took advantage of his chance while Fred Jackson went down with injury. But this weekend, the Bills get a tough Chiefs defense. Michael Turner and Jacquizz Rodgers both struggled to get anything going on the ground game last weekend against the Chiefs, as Matt Ryan threw his butt off against the Chiefs. So I look for Ryan Fitzpatrick to hook up with Stevie Johnson and Donald Jones and Scott Chandler, and not so much to run the ball with Spiller. The only reason I would start Spiller this Sunday is if you're in a PPR league, because Spiller loves to catch passes out of the backfield, and they even line him up as a wide receiver at times. Onto my wide receiver sleepers. One guy that I'm extremely high on plays tonight, and that's Randall Cobb. Greg Jennings is likely out, and Cobb will be thrust into a starting role and immediately becomes productive like last week. Cobb had 9 targets last week from Aaron Rodgers, and he caught all 9, along with 77 yards. Cobb is also the punt returner, which, if you're in a league for return touchdowns, is a bonus. I'm not saying he'll get one, but he did take one last week to the house. I see him producing top 15 numbers, where many weekly rankings have Cobb outside the top 30. My other wide receiver sleeper is Vincent Jackson of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jackson didn't do too well in his debut last week in Tampa, as he only had 4 catches for 47 yards, but he was targeted 10 times. This week, Jackson and the Bucs offense traveled to the Meadowlands to take on the New York Giants and their beat-up secondary. We all saw what Tony Romo did on opening night against the Giants defense, and I look for Josh Freeman to have similar success. I expect him to find Jackson early and often, and I expect a touchdown or 2 from Vincent Jackson this Sunday against the Giants. My wide receiver bus consists of one guy, and surprisingly, that's Larry Fitzgerald. I know this sounds crazy, but I don't like Larry Fitz's chances this Sunday against the Patriots. The Patriots stymied Jake Locker last weekend as they held him to only 1 touchdown and 229 yards. Kevin Cole gets a start this Sunday, I believe, in Arizona with the injury to John Skelton. And if you look and see what Larry Fitzgerald did last year with Kevin Kolb at the helm, not too impressive in my book. I'd bench Larry Fitz this week against a tough Patriots secondary and an inaccurate quarterback at the helm. Moving on to the tight ends that I like this week. One guy that I like particularly well is Coby Fleener from the Indianapolis Colts this Sunday against Minnesota. The Vikings took on the Jaguars last week in the tight end in Jacksonville's Mercedes Lewis, and Lewis scored a touchdown along with 52 yards on 5 catches last Sunday. Coby Fleener and his rookie quarterback Andrew Luck had a tough Chicago Bears defense last week, but Fleener still managed to catch 6 passes for 82 yards. I expect that chemistry and that success to boil over to week 2, and I look for Fleener to get into the end zone this week. Another tight end that I'm high on is Heath Miller. Heath Miller looked like his old self in the chemistry he had with Ben Roethlisberger. Every time the Steelers were in the red zone, Roethlisberger looked for Miller more than Wallace and Antonio Brown. I look for Miller to have another touchdown against the Jets this weekend, as he was a consistent target of Roethlisberger and an accurate Roethlisberger will be putting balls right there in Miller's hands in the end zone. The only tight end bust that I really have is either tight end from Baltimore. Many people went out and jumped all over Dennis Pitta from the Baltimore Ravens after his performance last Monday night against the Bengals. I'd hold off on throwing Pitta into your lineup this weekend as they get a tough Philadelphia Eagles defense in Philly. To wrap up my Week 2 show, kickers I like this weekend are Blair Walsh of the Minnesota Vikings, and again, just like last week, Shane Graham of the Houston Texans. I look for both kickers to put up a good amount of points against weak defenses. The only 2 kickers I'd shy away from is Ryan Lindell of the Buffalo Bills and Nate Kading of the San Diego Chargers. I wouldn't be too high on starting Kading until Rivers and the rest of the San Diego offense gets it going. It may be this week, but I don't see it with Ryan Matthews coming off the injury. Defenses that I'm extremely high on this weekend is the Oakland Raiders, who get a weak Miami Dolphins offense and rookie Ryan Tannehill, who just looked bad last Sunday. The other defense that I'm high on are the Cincinnati Bengals. Brandon Whedon threw 4 interceptions last week, and I look for the Bengals defense to continue putting pressure on Whedon and forcing him to make rookie errors. I did receive a few questions this week, and one of the questions was from Jared of Oklahoma, who wants to know if he should start Kevin Smith or Chris Johnson. Well, Jared, I like CJ2K here, and I look for him to rebound majorly against a mediocre Chargers defense. McFadden had a nice receiving game, not too much rushing, but receiving game, and Chris Johnson is easily capable of catching passes out of the backfield. And as well, like I said, I have high expectations that he will rebound with more than 11 yards rushing. Another question came from Justin of Texas, as he asked, who does he start, Randall Cobb or Antonio Brown? Well, Justin, this is a tough question, but I like Cobb here. I'm extremely high on Cobb, and I love that he's getting a chance to start with the injury to Greg Jennings. I like Antonio Brown as well, but playing against a Jets secondary and with how not bad but poorly Ben Roethlisberger looked on Sunday night against the Broncos, I'd still be iffy on starting Brown consistently, so I'd go with Randall Cobb there. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Remember to get your questions to me by Thursday morning for week 3, and I'll answer a few of them in my next episode. I wish you all the best of luck in your fantasy leagues for week number 2, and I'll see you next time. Remember the email address in the description. Email me there. Peace.